All right, guys, welcome back to the Shift Points podcast here. I'm here with Randy Edmonds, where we talk about the Southeast Gassers Association just coming off the midway point of the season, already halfway done with the season.
5 races.
That's right. And you guys just came back from Union County Dragway. You're down in South Carolina, and I heard it was a bit of a warm day down there.
It was amazingly hot. Hottest I've ever been at a track. I think maybe in 18, I was just a spectator at Piedmont, and it was maybe this hot there.
Really?
But this was amazingly hot. 96, 97 degrees. Actually, the indoor-outdoor thermometer at the motorhome said 102 at one time. I heard someone come in their truck say it's 100 on their truck. But I actually saw 148 track temp, and I heard someone say that they saw 153.
Man.
So
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you talked a little yesterday talking about it, but it's amazing to me that they were able to keep the track under control.
They worked their tail off. They actually did more track prep than any race that I've ever been involved with. They were on it. It extended our time some by all the track prep that they did, but they were out there on it. We never got ball spots.
That's amazing.
You know, I mean, it was surprising to me. I kept looking at it, you know, but there never was any ball spots.
So just every so often they were just going down, spraying, doing whatever they needed to do to keep
dragging
it good.
the track, spraying it there where the starting line and putting resin on, dragging over it and stuff. And they kept it. I don't know. They've been doing a lot of work to that track, hand scraping and stuff. So I don't know exactly. John Bartuni, I think is the way you pronounce his name, and Tony Brown.
Okay.
Tony is a manager there. They did a great job. They've got a really good staff. The starter, and one of the other track officials there, they came from Darlington.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I think they said that the starter had like 28 years starting.
Wow.
And he was on it. And so they kept the track up good.
Yeah, that's great.
As good as they could with the temperatures they were. And it was really rough on the race teams because we'd get cloud cover for a little while. And then it'd get really hot again, and then it'd cool off a little bit. I'd say cool off, but it did feel better. But it wouldn't cool off very much. But it was relief when the sun went behind the cloud.
Yeah. No, that's fair, man. That's that's amazing. It's just so hot. I was at a circle track on Saturday too, and I told the guys, I said, I think this is the hottest I've ever been at a racetrack. I said it was also in South Carolina.
It was Sellers and Sons Gutter Systems was our sponsor. Union County Dragway, 5th race of the season. Points are starting to really count right now. Things are happening in the points. 5 races to go. If you look at it with 5 races to go, you get 20 points. You get 10 points to show up and 5 points for each qualifying. Okay. So you get 20 points for being there, basically.
Gotcha.
You know? So if you take, that's 100 points in the next 5 races that everybody's automatically going to get. Well,
right.
If we go 5 rounds, that's another 25 points, or 4 rounds, that's another 25 points.
Right.
So it'd be 45 total, 45 total there. So you get to figuring all that up in 5. There's not that many points left out there.
Right, yeah.
So it's time to start really looking at the points.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have points with you today?
I do not, but I've kind of figured them.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about it as we go then.
Yeah, I've got it kind of, but it's like I say, this is not the official points.
Like we always say.
Yeah, we got to wait on our brain for that, Angela.
That's fair.
But it was really good. First off, I want to just tell everybody to pray for the Roger Richards family. Roger's he's a legend in the photography of motorsports.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff out there online. If you go and read some of the stuff that Quayne said, some of the stuff that Competition Plus has put out about him, he was a wedding photographer.
Really? I didn't realize that. I missed that.
And ended up going over to Greer and watching some drag racing and fell in love with it and just went from there. You know, I mean, he was really just a pioneer in motorsports photography. But there's some stories out there where he would call Bobby Bennett up at Competition Plus and say, "Hey, I'm not going to the NHRA race. I'm going to the Southeast Gassers race." So you know, I mean, he would leave that to come and photograph us.
That
that's
speaks volumes on what the series was doing then.
Yes, and also, you know, we couldn't say this do this without saying something about John Force. Pray for John Force. You know, there was a battle won today and moving up out of step down, you know, into a different out of ICU. So just keep them in your prayers.
Yeah. They said he had a long road to go still, but you know, at least a little bit of good news coming out of that for sure.
Yeah, you know, there's nobody. I mean, you know, there's probably nobody. He's basic, I guess, the Dale Earnhardt to Richard Petty of drag racing.
Yeah,
you know?
probably Richard. Yeah, probably Richard Petty's probably a much better example.
Exactly.
Man, yeah.
Exactly.
I don't want to go too much further. It's funny how he looks at stuff. I saw an interview they did with him earlier this year, and he was like, "I just want to be like Snake and Mongoose, and I want to like Don Gar. I want to be like those guys." And the interviewer said, "You realize that everybody else wants to be like you." You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, do you understand? So it's cool that a guy that has done as much as he has, he still has a perspective on other people too. It's really neat.
And he seems to be down to earth. If you ever met him and talked to him, you know, I mean, he didn't talk down to you.
Right. That's great.
He's a good guy. We had a really good race. We had Friday night. We had a couple of Logan Platt came out and made a few more passes, done really well. You can see him improving every pass he makes. Also, Billy Wilson's son, Billy, came out and made some passes in the Studebaker truck.
Yep, I saw that.
And he did really well. So it's good to see those next generation drivers coming up.
They're coming.
They are. A consolation race, Ram Clutch stepped up and sponsored a consolation race. Pat and Mike, they were pleased to do it. Also, we had excess power batteries. We had a $100 gift certificate to go to the consolation race winners for that. So that really helped out. The winners in that was Alan Lovelady Superstock, Ben Helms C-Gas, Jimmy Martin B-Gas, and Barry Lynn A-Gas.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it turned out really well. Again, it was just so hot that it just no one was running like they normally did.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Probably the cars and the people, I imagine.
But going into qualifying, Randy Kiefer's number one. He went to the finals against Jerry Dean. Jaron Purdue and Stud Muffin, his second outing in that car, number one qualifier. He ended up going into the third round and got taken out by a very hard hitting Ernie.
Yeah, right.
Ernie Smith. Ernie was on the tree this weekend and then broke his shifter.
Oh, man.
His shifter broke. So, and then Ted McKee and Big Ass, he ended up going to the semifinals and went up against the eventual winner, Daniel Haynes, took him out. That was a pass. I happened to be in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel had a 001 on him.
Oh, man.
He was 004.
What
and it was I can't remember the exact numbers they had, but they were close. It was like a 77 with a 9 and a 77 with a 5.
Whoa.
Were their numbers.
Right. So
you know, I mean, that's how close it was.
Just stayed right together the entire pass. Mm-hmm. That's great.
And then Gabriel came out, number one qualifier. He had the fastest time on Saturday. He ended up getting taken out in the semifinals by Ben Christopher, both fighting the cars. Gabriel came out and went right toward the wall, never backed out of it, still ran a fast time.
Yeah.
You know, as we saw Gabriel do before all over the track and still win, still run fast times. But he had a really fast time. I happened to be in the tower when that one went too. And
I just find it amazing how they can take time off, and everybody else is kind of making gains, and then they come out and guns blazing. They take a couple races off or whatever,
Yeah.
boom, right to the top.
Well, Gabriel's missed one race, and he's not that far back in the points.
Gotcha.
So he's right there. But going into eliminations, Superstock, Jerry Dean wins again, 5 in a row.
So it wasn't the Shocks.
No, it wasn't. No, we kind of joking with Jerry that I know what his secret is, and that I don't think we can take her away from him.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh man, that's pretty. That's funny to me because I saw it. I was checking the results after Saturday night and was looking at it and I went, "Wasn't the Shocks?" It turns out he's still fast.
Yeah, he's good. And we talked a lot about engines or engine builders last time. And the reason we got into talking about that, and that was just off of the cuff. That we ended up talking about that. I hadn't even thought about it, but it's all Fulton engines except for Superstock last race. And it got me to thinking about all the different engine builders that we have. Well, Jerry Dean and Dennis Mitchell built his engine.
Okay.
And, of course, a lot of us know what Dennis did. He's a 6-time IHRA champion,
Right.
and Jerry was right there with him. Jerry helped him build his engines. He helped Jerry build his engines.
Right,
So,
gotcha.
So that's where they're at.
That makes sense.
But he's still number one in points, most definitely after winning 5 in a row. He's won all of them this year. And Lancaster says that he's Lancaster. You say that right?
You get that right.
He says that he's won every round this year.
That is wild. I mean, you think about all the pieces that have to fit together and we talked about it a little bit last time, but that's perfect. I mean, it's perfection, a perfect season so far, and that's amazing to see how far he's going to carry that.
But Kiefer's right there. I
Yeah.
mean, Kiefer just barely missed it this weekend.
Yep.
But Kiefer's coming. He's right there. I mean, any little slip, and Randy's going to be
Right
there.
with him.
And there's some other cars out there too. That's getting better and better. In Superstock, Kenny Phillips for one. He's really picked it up. In the last couple of races, Kenny has really picked it up and running better.
Yeah, that's great.
So then going into C-Gas, Todd Oden, winner. That's his 3rd win this year. I just saw where that they put something out there. David Lancaster's putting up, trying to get put together a database, I guess, of all the wins and championships and everything.
Okay.
And so I think that Todd has got 19 wins now.
Wow.
And
That's a lot.
And that's a win in A-Gas, B-Gas, C-Gas, and D-Gas.
Wow. Just
So-
that's very, very impressive, Todd.
And
if you're watching.
So he's number one in the points, of course, and that's one-way power. That's one-way technology horsepower for him, Jeff Jones. And just speaking of that, I'll just go ahead and speak of that. There's several engines out there that run his heads. As far as engines, of course, Michael Oden's running a one-way engine. There's a couple more out there. I can't think of them right off the bat, but there's a couple more that's one-way engines. And then there's another one that's on the way. I don't know if he wants me to say that or not, so I won't. But he's supposed to be getting it in August. It's a B-gas car.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that's another one of those that's, a top-notch engine builder that's out there. And he does a lot of head work for a lot of different people, a lot of different racing all over the world. But he has developed some heads just for Southeast Gassers.
Wow.
And there's a lot of our guys running those heads.
Yeah, just the smarts and the brains that go in behind all the technology and stuff that's in these cars is incredible.
And there's actually some of the top-notch engine builders that we've previously talked about that are getting heads from Jeff now.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah,
so that tells you a lot.
Tells
too.
you a lot.
Mm-hmm. But Big S, Daniel Haynes, that's his second win of the season. That put him first in the points. He and Ted went into this tied, and and that is he does his own engine work with the help of Dwayne Bush.
Okay.
And just to speak a little bit about Dwayne there, Dwayne helps a lot of the Windsor-headed Ford guys.
Okay.
He's got a lot of knowledge on those, and Josh Pruitt. I think maybe Diana and Dana, maybe some part of their stuff is, Dwayne Bush advises them some on their stuff. And then you've got a lot of different ones that he helps on that stuff. And then just speaking of that, too, while we're talking about the Fords there, you got Jimmy Huff.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Huff does a lot of the Cleveland-headed stuff, and then you got Kobe Welch. He and his dad do most of their work, along with Jimmy's help and some others, and they but they do, and that car's always, if he's on the grounds, he's a contender,
right? Exactly.
So they do a lot of their work. Greg Adams is another one I think that Dwayne Bush may have something to do with. But then we've got the new car, Bad Alibi, Jerry Blue. He's the 385 series, the big block Ford.
Big block.
Yeah, and but he does some of his work, and there's been a lot of improvement in that car since the first time it showed up.
Right.
He's looking better all the time, and he was telling me this weekend that they're building another engine for him. So that's. Good stuff there. Look to see those guys that do their own stuff.
Yeah, that's what makes it so interesting. This spread of people and experience and everything.
Yeah. All right, then going into A-Gas, Todd Blackwell. And that's 5 different winners in A-Gas. 5 races, 5 winners.
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking about that just yesterday. Just like, I feel like A-Gas just feels a bit all over the place this year as far as that goes. A lot of winners, and there's a big spread, seems like.
It is, and then if you look, Kenneth got the first one, Fulton engine. Gabe got the second one, John Causey. The big buck Ford,
right.
385 series. And then you've got
Quayne would have been next.
Quayne was with the Fulton, and that's one of Kenneth's old engines, so it's a Fulton engine.
Right.
And then we got Leslie, and that's Fulton. And then Todd Blackwell is Scott Duggan's power engines.
Yeah.
And it's what we call, or what I call, a small valve, small bore engine. They get another little break for being that small bore. But points are tight.
Have to be, yeah. There would have to be really tight.
Going into this weekend, Kenneth and Leslie were tied.
Wow.
And we'll just go ahead and go over that a little bit. So now Leslie is 5 points ahead of Kenneth.
Okay.
And so then you got Todd Blackwell, Chase Howard, and Quayne. But sitting in 6th is Gabriel.
Okay.
But there's only I think 30 points. Now I'm just like I'll say again, this is not exact. It could be wrong, but Gabriel's just like 30 points back from 1st and 6th.
Wow! So there's a 30-point spread over 6 positions.
Yeah.
That's really tight.
So, you get into that, and it could still be anybody's.
For sure.
It could still be anybody's there. But talking about those engines, we got LWA, which is Rob Walden.
Okay.
Lamar Walden engines. They got like a dozen engines out there in all this.
Wow.
And then you got Tim Hall, THE, Tim Hall Engineering, or Tim Hall Engines, or whatever you want to say. But he's got like a half a dozen out there. he has started selling some of his engines, his previous engines. He actually sold one to Matt Helms this weekend that they had in this car this weekend, and one of Matt's first passes was nothing but blue sky.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's what I call the old bullet Ford. They'll feel like a 50 Ford, 49 50 Ford with the bullet in the front, and he stood it up. And his daughter, I'm not sure what her name is, don't know how old she is or anything, but she was there and she backed him up. And I was standing right there, and I said, "Wow, that was all right." And she looked at me and she said, and I've said it, this is a quote of the weekend. I wished it had been on film, but the look on her face, and she looked at me and she said, "That's my daddy."
She was proud.
It was great. It
That
was
is
great.
awesome.
I really liked that. And like I say, he's got like 6 engines out there. Troy Leitner runs his engine. So there's several out there. LWA, which, like I say, is Rob, he's building a couple of super stock engines right now, he told me the other day. Then you got Rainwater. He and Wayne Young take care of his engine work.
Right.
And then Milledantry, that's little White Anglia. Mm-hmm. He and his dad do his. And then you've got Randy Kiefer, that's Butler.
Butler, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
the name in Pontiac there.
That's it, no doubt. And then Jeff Taylor is doing Rick Varner's car, and he's also doing the big block that Kenneth's running. I think there's going to be some swapping going on there in the next race.
Okay.
But then you got Doug Hobgood out of Wilson, North Carolina. H&F engine does Larry Cummings' engine all the way in Mississippi.
Okay, gotcha.
So, not Mississippi, Louisiana.
Louisiana, okay.
Excuse me.
Right.
Excuse me. He'll put the hoax on me, won't he?
No comment. I don't want it.
Yeah, Larry is in Louisiana. But, that's just, and that's not all of them.
Right.
You got Todd Hines builds his own engine in his H-gas car. I'm not sure who's doing Robert Frazier's Rambler engine. I think maybe Scott Partee is doing most of the work on his engine. So there's a lot of different ones out there that's doing their own stuff too.
Right.
So there's a big variety of stuff goes on in Southeast Gas.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah.
So a lot of knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
A lot of knowledge. A lot of secrets.
Always. That's what makes it fun.
I did get a funny story the other day. Someone was telling me that they broke an engine. That one of the racers broke their engine, and one of the other guys that builds engines called him up and said, "Hey, if you need any help, I'll be glad to come over and help you." He said, "No, that's all right.
That's okay." He's up there with a notebook.
So there's been some times when we were teching and getting ready to look into tearing some stuff down. That they didn't want anybody around.
That's fair.
Don't want nobody peeking in and stuff,
It's like the old Bob Glidden crash, right? Gets out and takes the fire jacket off and lays it over the intake, right? I mean, stuff like that. Yeah. Like I said, that's what makes racing pretty fun.
Yeah, that happens. But just, again, I say, this may not be exact, but super stock, I think, Jerry's obviously number 1, Kiefer number 2, Brian Dalton, number 3, out on Love Lady 4, and Kenny Phillips has moved up to 5th, and he hadn't ran all the races.
Okay.
And then you got Todd Oden, Tim Hall moved into 2nd, Josh Pruitt, Ernie, and Diana Casto, rounding out the top 5 there. Daniel Haynes, Ted McKee, this big S, Daniel Haynes, Ted McKee, Mike Blackwell, Rick Varner, and Rod Bergner. And that's another deal there. Rod Bergner's engine is it's an old Ryer Morrison, I think 287.
Okay.
But I'm not sure exactly. I think Rob Walden's been doing some work on it also. So that's another one there. And then we'd already went through the A-gas deal there.
Right.
So it
It's about to get interesting, is
It
what you're
is.
saying. It's even
It
more
is.
interesting, I should say.
There's a pretty good spread in C-gas.
Okay.
Pretty good spread in C-gas. Todd's kind of dominated that, much in the same way that Tim did last year, in C-gas. Tim kind of ran away with it last year.
Do you think there's a reason for that? Like, we talk about all the time, and the reason I ask is we talk about all the time about, the tight competition and things like that in all these classes, and it is tight. But do you think there's a reason that C-gas, maybe there's a door that opens there?
If you think about it, last year, Todd was having some engine troubles.
Okay.
He's always been a contender in there. And then also, Stud Muffin's always been there in C-gas. Josh Pruitt's always been there in C-gas.
Gotcha.
Those 4 cars are pretty much, the top of C-gas, at in the past.
Right.
And it seems like the tides are kind of, it's kind of pulling everything closer. Diana's running better, Ernie's running
Absolutely.
better. You got Alfred Adams running better.
Right.
So C-gas is there. But if you look at last year, Todd was having a little trouble. Ricky Jones had just got Stud Muffin, and he wasn't really, he wasn't accustomed to driving a 4-speed car, and he was learning.
Right.
So he had some bad races. Todd had some bad races. Tim pulled away.
Gotcha. Okay.
This year, Tim's went to a new combination. He's had some bad races. Todd has pulled away a little bit.
Gotcha.
Josh started out really strong, and then he's had a bad couple of races, and he's kind of fell back, but he's just in third.
Right.
And then, that's kind of, it circumstances, I guess you could say.
Right. It's racing,
So that's pretty much where that's at. But Mike Blackwell has really stepped up their game.
Yeah.
They're running a whole lot better this year. And also Todd. Actually Mike Blackwell's third in B gas and Todd's third in A gas.
Right.
But I think maybe that he and Kenneth are tied. I'm thinking that they are tied for second.
For second. Gotcha.
And that's just 5 points to first.
Right. That's
if I'm right.
give or take a little buffer.
We'll see when the official points come out.
Gotcha.
But it's time to start looking at the points.
Yeah, for sure. No, we definitely need to be covering that.
Mm-hmm. The new Power Tube Series 2, Episode 2, I guess, of the series is out. It's better than the first one.
Great.
We had really high expectations. It's good. It's and then the second one's better. We're expecting the third one to be better than that.
Yeah, there's always things to learn, so that's good.
And so it's getting better all the time. The third one's out, or the second one's out. It actually came out on YouTube yesterday or today also.
Okay.
It's on PowerTube, but it actually came out on YouTube also.
Okay.
So go there, watch that, like and subscribe. Go to YouTube and like and subscribe.
Yeah, follow all the Southeast Gassers. Steven's still doing all the social media, right? As far as I know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was making sure. I started to say Steven does a good job on keeping everything updated and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and then of course Dylan, DH Media. Check out Dylan's stuff.
He does.
He has
great
really
job.
been putting in the work this year.
He has.
Yeah,
He
making
has.
a lot of good changes.
And he's been doing a lot of other stuff too. He went down to Mississippi and did some stuff down there for Britt Cummins and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they on the $1 million races or $500,000 races or whatever it is that they bracket races.
Gotcha.
The big bracket races.
I didn't realize
do.
he had done that. That's awesome.
Yeah, he just he did that recently. He's did some stuff for Whaled Wheels and things like that. So,
Understood.
so
Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Like I said, he does such good stuff. So I love to.
He
love
does
to
a
see
great
it.
job. A great job. He's actually he and I talked yesterday. He's getting ready to start sending stuff to Craig Boone at London for them to start. Craig's got a lot of followers at London. He's got like 48 or 50,000 followers up there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we need to get the word out to them, and the Summer Nights cruise in Somerville up there. they do a big cruise up there, so they're working with us. They're going to be bringing some cars to the show, to our drag race, show cars to our drag race, or cruise-in cars or whatever and stuff. They do a big thing up there once a month.
Okay.
Called Summer Nights.
Summer Nights. Okay, I didn't know that.
Somerset, Kentucky.
Okay. Oh, it makes sense.
So we're going to try to maybe get some cars up there in the future and kind of help Keith Floyd out on that. Keith and I talked a couple times recently, talked today about it, and so that's something that's going to be going on there. And also, if you haven't heard, the next 3 races will be 4 o'clock start.
Yep, and this is 3 hours later than normal. Usually it's 1 o'clock. Now it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it'll be Southeast Gassers under the lights.
I think this is a good idea. I just like the idea of seeing these guys under the lights is going to be super cool. Yeah. I don't know what it is about racing after dark. Growing up, we would always go to Bristol on the Friday for qualifying, and they would do the Friday Night Thunder or whatever they called it, and it was always under the lights. And it's just racing after dark. It's awesome.
It's good. And it's easier on everybody. It's easier on the track crew. It's easier on the fans in the stands. I was down there Saturday, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I'd hate to be sitting up there on those concrete placers.
I know, yeah.
And we had actually, Wes Clapp and I had been talking about this earlier in the week about maybe doing something at Knoxville in September, and then I had mentioned it to Leslie and Wayne, and then we talked about it a little more Saturday morning, and then as hot as it was Saturday. Leslie and I talked on Sunday, and we just pretty much went for it from there, talked to the track owners, and the track owners has been pushing for it for some time now. They've been wanting to do it, especially Wes. And then when I called up Eric Church at Mooresville, he was thrilled about it. He had actually, a week ago Saturday, they had bumped their bracket program from 11 to 3.
Oh, really?
They were going to start at 11, and they went ahead and started at 3.
Right.
London, Craig was thrilled about it. When I first told him and mentioned it to him, he said, I think that's what we've been needing to do. He said, my crowd don't want to come out here in the hot of the day.
It's fair, and plus it's probably going to make the track conditions better. I imagine. They'll be able to control the track a little bit better, I'd say.
And Craig does once a month. He does what they call grudge wars up there, and they start at 10 o'clock of the night and run till 2 in the morning.
Right. Yeah, I've seen stuff like that. Yeah.
So there, I think it's going to be good. It's, there's pros and cons to anything you do.
Everything.
You've got. You run into evening thunder showers maybe, or something like that. But we've been running into 1 o'clock showers too.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah. You're playing a little game of chance, like you said, no matter when you run it. So.
Yeah, and then Wes has been wanting me to do this for a while. We've been talking about it for weeks now. And he's thrilled with it. Talked to him a little while today about it, and we're going to be doing some little special stuff at. We'll talk more about that when we get a little closer to Knoxville, but we're going to try to do a little something different over there with AFX.
Okay. Okay.
And just. You've got Tennessee football in Knoxville. If they're home, it changes things over there. If they're away, people stay home and watch it.
Right.
So we're trying to work around that a little bit, and not sure how much that affects it, but it's got to be a few anyway.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. That love over there is deep.
It is. It is.
So let's talk about the next race. So I usually have the dates in front of me, and I didn't have them pulled up, so I'm dropping the ball here. So where are we next, and what's the dates on that, if you remember?
It's July the 20th and the 21st. Let me just make sure.
I can look too.
19th and 20th.
19th and 20th. Okay.
19th and 20th is what it is. It's the 19th and 20th, sponsored by One Way Technology. We're not sure on consolation yet. We're still working on that. But always just thrilled that One Way Technology is hung on board. When we left Indiana, they moved to London, started sponsoring it for us, and but 4 o'clock start. The drivers' meeting will be at 2. We always do the drivers' meeting 2 hours before start time, and looking for a really good crowd there this time. We've had bad luck at London, with weather. It being so hot a few times, and then last year we had the drivers' meeting at 11. Was over at probably 11:45, and it rained at 12.
Oh no! Oh no!
And we didn't have many people there at all, but this past race, I was amazed at how many people came out. If you look, when you see the videos and things, it doesn't look like there's anybody there, but there's tents all the way down both fences.
Okay, gotcha.
So those people had fences over there, and I even ran into some people from here, from Weaverville.
Oh, really?
That had came down. So it was good. We had people from South Africa. We had people from England.
That's amazing.
Gasser Circus guys were there. And then they came for this event.
Specifically for it, yeah.
They came for this event. So, a lot of people know about us, and admire us and want to come see us. Yeah,
for sure.
And it's, and I've said it before, they don't come to see me. They don't come to see, but they don't come to see the officials. They don't come to see me or Rocky or John or Sammy or whoever. They come to see these guys racing, and it's all about them.
Exactly.
It's all about them, and they put on one heck of a show, and they work hard doing it.
Yes,
they work hard doing it. Friday night I went down through the pits, and there's a half a dozen guys got their cars tore all to pieces down there on Friday night. After they've been out there tested.
Right.
And Greg Stelz and his crew, they worked their hind ends off, and then ended up, I'm not sure what happened, but it was something valve train wise,
okay.
cam lifter, push rods, rocker arms, something in the top end of his engine let go.
Okay.
But they had been down here all week working on that car and made a lot of improvements, made some gains and stuff, and then the engine let go. So, but they're fighters.
Yeah, they're
fighters.
That's for sure.
They're not quitters, and already, I'm sure he's already working on things.
No, I'm sure. I'm certain of that.
But it's we're looking forward to London though. Craig and Tammy Boone, they do a great job up there, and always tickled to go there. If you've never been to London, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's the middle of Daniel Boone National Park.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right. I'd forgotten that.
You come around the staging lanes, and it kind of curves around, and you're looking down a valley that looks like it's 100 miles long.
Wow. That's cool.
And it's nothing but mountains. You don't see a house from there.
Right. That's really neat.
So it's just an absolutely beautiful place. They just basically cut the top of a mountain off and made a drag strip.
Made a drag strip out of it.
It's
a pretty good use for a mountain, I'd say.
I agree. I'll go into the tech report here. Sam had sent me that. This is a Union, South Carolina race tech report. 7 fuel day fuel checks with spec, gravity, and oxygen checks all passed. 10 sticker inspections completed. 7 stickers awarded. 1 new car inspection. 12 random race day ride inspections completed at the scales, all passed. 2 race variances approved for Wicked 1B gas car for non-period wheelie bar modification. They changed the wheelie bars and put the wrong wheelie bars on that car.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So they're gonna be able to do it for 2 races because of not being able to get them changed.
Gotcha.
And it's really just an appearance deal. It's a period correct deal. 4 post-race engine seal inspection, 1 post-race P&G completed, all passed. 1 car, Matt Helms, time was spent helping pre-race get to legal ride height. And this was pre-race. They checked the car pre-racing, it was a little low, I think is what it was, and they ended up getting it to where it needed to be.
Okay.
And there was one warning issued to a super stock car for not having fuel check valve.
Okay.
So the tech team is doing absolutely.
I love that report.
Yes.
It's so concise, but they just cover everything, and that's such a nice thing to have here.
And it was like, I think it was seven stickers awarded,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably saw 3 or 4 of them on Facebook. People's so proud to get that.
I'm telling you that idea was very good.
It was really good. We just like I said on here before, I think that when I first heard it, I thought, well, that's all right. But
Yeah.
I never expected it to be so exciting to the drivers to
Right.
get it.
It's like spending thousands of dollars on parts and getting the sticker. You know, you just get so excited over that little sticker. but it's a culmination of a lot of things, you know.
But there's like 40-something pages of rules.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
There's
It's
like 40-something
you
pages
think
of
about
rules.
the time and the money and everything that had to be spent to follow in that rule book.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good reason to be proud.
But you look at this points and see that how close it is, and you know that when this guy pulls up beside you over here, you
He's
know that he's
legal.
been checked.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know he's having to do the same things you're doing.
Exactly.
You know, not saying that someone might not get by with something at some time or another, but they're taking a chance.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, I mean, you're playing Russian roulette.
Right. Pretty good chance you're gonna get caught at some point. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and sometimes tempers flare a little bit, but we're all human.
Exactly.
And, you know, and it all gets worked out. You know, we had a little deal this past weekend, but it got worked out and everything's fine. Everybody's okay now. But you know, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you just, you know, the rules are the rules. Everybody has to go by 'em.
Exactly.
You
And they're
know,
right there on the
that's-
website, you know.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Well, that's great. Well, anything else you want to cover there?
I think we're about covered it.
Well, good deal. Well, guys, we appreciate you so much for joining and listening to us. And we talked about everybody else, but make sure you hit that subscribe button for us and like and give us some comments. Let us know if there's anything that we're not covering here that you'd like to hear about that maybe happened over the weekends or stuff like that, or something that you'd like us to add in here. We're always open to stuff like that. I
Yeah.
like to hear it, and we want to make sure that we're covering everything that you guys want to know about whenever we're doing this. So we appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit subscribe for Shift Points. Go follow Southeast Gassers on everything. They're everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, you know, TikTok, all the places. So do that, and make sure that you come back here and head up to Kentucky here in a few weeks and
it.
check them out. It's going to be a good race. Hopefully a little cooler with that later start time. So
I'm sure it will be.
So we
Yeah.
appreciate you, Randy. Thanks for being on here and having us a part of all this deal. And we'll see you in a few weeks.
Be sure to check out Southeast Gassers gear.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly.
One of my old shirts that I wear very, very few times anymore because I don't want nothing to happen to it. This
Yeah.
is probably from 15.
Oh,
maybe.
really? Yeah. They
Yeah.
do so good. I spoke to
Yeah.
Steven. Me and him were talking back and forth a couple weeks ago. And, I think we're going to get some shirts, so that'll be good. I'll be able to wear one on the show here. So, so good deal. We'll see you
right.
guys in a few weeks. Thanks so much.
Thank you.